Hey guys, Darren Collier, coach of Wiser Pods, and welcome back to another captains video. Heading into round 12, we are in for another big round of captains. But let's quickly review how I did in round 11. So I ranked in at number 32 for the weekly rankings last week with some pretty massive scores. You know, Zach Merritt there at number 1 was very nice. I wish I sort of trusted my gut a little bit more with Nick Martin. I thought he would go massive, and he did. So happy to have him at number 3, but ideally should have been a bit higher than that. Obviously had Bailey Smith in there at number 2, trusted him, and he's going to feature pretty highly this week up against West Coast. So just foreshadowing a little bit there. Jordan Dawson, he's just getting it done every single week at the moment and had a pretty big one there. And Tristan Cherry, unfortunately, copped the back end of the curse this year, where I cannot seem to have all 5 of my captains go over 100. So unfortunate. I probably should be using it to my advantage because I am a Tristan Cherry owner. But unfortunate for him to drop out of that 100 zone. So overall, pretty good week. For the season overall, I am now into the top 50, chasing the top guys, not too far away. So let's continue to have another big week. So let's get into this week's captains. And like I said, there are probably a fair few options, I think, that a lot of people will be looking at. Some quite highly owned. So let's get straight into it. The number 1 player, I think we all know where we're going here. He is the most highly selected player here, up against West Coast Eagles. Does not matter if he has got a bit of an injury concern. He's training on track all week, getting it done every single week, averaging 120 so far this year. It is Bailey Smith playing in the last game of the round, so he is one you could easily just rely on. He's going to get you that safe 120 every single week and does know how to do a big pop score as well. So he will be my captain no matter what this week. And I think that will be a pretty common occurrence across the competition. Obviously, West Coast have been giving up some pretty massive scores across the competition throughout this entire season. There always seems to be one opposition player that goes over 110. So I'm expecting Bailey Smith to go pretty massive as well. So he is easily number 1. Should be the safest 100 that we know so far from this season. So yeah, safest houses. Number 2, I have gone again, just going down the line here. It is Max Gawn. Now, Max Gawn has been awesome for the last 2 months. We all know the form he's in. He's skyrocketed in price and the most expensive player in the competition right now. So there's no surprise that he knows how to find the pill. He scored a 152 against Royal Marshall last year. This is the only data that really matters because all the information prior to that, he had teammates where he obviously didn't score as well, but Max Gawn just knows how to get it done, and he knows how to win against Royal Marshall, so I'm expecting a pretty big score against him again this week, and obviously he knows how to find a big ceiling, so he will probably be my VC, but you got to be careful. Obviously, Max Gawn does play in late on the Sunday, so yeah, you gotta make sure you're on top of it when it comes to if you're looking to run VC on Max and going into Bailey Smith. Royal Marshall has been giving up a fair few points to Ruckman recently. Obviously, we know his form's a bit lacking at the current time. We saw him go up against the likes of Witts last week, and Witts pretty much just monstered him in the ruck contest. I think Witts pretty much had like nearly 50 hitouts, which was pretty massive when you think that's the majority of his points. Let me just double check that. Yeah, 49 hitouts against Royal Marshall last week. Obviously, a pretty massive 94 ruck contest throughout the entire game, or between those two, anyways. So, yeah, I'm expecting something very similar from Max Gawn, and we'll get it done around the ground as well. So, I'm probably trusting Max Gawn with my VC as well. Can be very good. So number 3, I have gone with someone who I haven't put in my top 5 captains, I don't think, at all year, is Lockie Whitfield. I expect him to have a pretty big bounce back game after probably about a month of poor form. I know they're changing his role here and there, just spending a bit more time half forward, but they do like him at halfback. There's even been a bit of a comment by the coach that they still like him off halfback, but obviously he's going to play roles here and there where it sort of suits him. So I do think that with some of the troops returning this week, that Lockie Whitfield could go back this week, and I just think he gets it done. He knows how to float around and demand the ball, so I'm expecting a 130 plus from him against Richmond Tigers. Against Richmond Tigers this week, they just know how to find the ball. And obviously, Richmond love to give up plenty of points. We've seen a host of massive scores against them. So could be up there. So he is safe as well with a 130. They do play Saturday. So they play middle of Saturday, 3:45 SA time. So yeah, not too bad to be able to go him and then go into Bailey Smith on Sunday. But my number 4 has to be Dane Zorko. Obviously, the form is there. The matchup tonight against Essendon, they love to give up plenty of points and are the second best matchup for designated kick-out players. So he should just absolutely have a field day. Like I said, the form is there. He looks fit and healthy at the moment, so he should have another blinder with a 120. He did score a 110 against them last year, so yeah, again, has the form, has the role, and has the matchup. So all those positive things deserves to be in the top 5 there. They obviously they play tonight, so he would be a pretty safe one to go with the VC. And that's probably where I'd be going if I owned him. It's going to be a tough watch not owning him. I think it's going to be a tough watch overall for me. I don't have too many players tonight, but that's all right. But my number 5 has to be to another man that I do not own in Andrew Brayshaw. Now, the Gold Coast Suns have been giving up some massive scores to midfielders recently. I can go through a few here. Chad Warner, 119. Tom Liberatore, 140. Ed Richards was 130 as well. Jai Newcomb with 123. Jack Steele went a 126 as well against them last week. So yeah, plenty of big scores just in the last 5. So someone always seems to go over 120, and I do expect that to be an Andy Brayshaw. He went 136 against them last year as well, so he does know how to find a bit of a pop score. So I'm expecting him to go quite well. Yes, it's at People's First Stadium, but I don't think it's going to affect him too much. I think he'll get it done. So he is in my top 5. So that is my top 5 captains for the week. Let's just continue on for the next 5. So number 6 is an interesting one and a welcome introduction into my captains for the first time ever, and that is Lockie Ash. As I went through in my trade mode video, I do think is a fairly good trading option, obviously, this week against the matchup of Richmond. He seems to be safe as houses back there in that half-back role, taking kick-ins. So he should have a pretty big one this week as well. I'm still yet to see the massive ceilings from him, like, 130, 140 pluses. So that's why he's not sort of featured in my top 5. But I still think he'll be a very viable option if you want to be a bit more unique. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go absolutely massive this week, just with potentially Lockie Whitfield spending a bit more time forward. But I'd back in Lockie Whitfield to return to form. He hasn't had the best scoring history against obviously Richmond, but again, he didn't play the role that he's playing this year, so I'm not too worried about that. So he is number 6. Number 7, I've gone Max Holmes. Again, same sort of reason with Bailey Smith. Those two are just racking up for fun when it comes to these matchups. He does it all, going back, getting those +6s in the halfback, but also sneaking forward and doesn't mind pegging at the goals every now and then as well. So expecting him to continue his great form from last week. Would like to be tackled a little bit more, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him do that a bit more often through the next period of time. So he hasn't shown me a huge ceiling in recent times, so I'm not super confident that he'll go massive, but I think it'll be a safe 110 for sure. Number 8, I've gone with my boy Josh Dunkley. He went with 111 against Essendon last year. Essendon are the second easiest matchup for midfielders in recent times, or the last 5, I should say. So I do expect Josh Dunkley to go well as an owner, but in saying that, his form has been down on the last 3 weeks, so that's why he hasn't featured that highly. Just need to see him return to a bit of form, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a pretty big game. So he is another viable option. Same with this next man, and that is Jordan Dawson in at 9. Now he's up against his old team in against the Sydney Swans. Obviously, that's a bit of a rivalry matchup, but looking back at his past history, he hasn't actually scored particularly well against them. He has not gone over 103 in I think the 4 or 5 games he's played against them. So not the biggest scores, but Sydney have traditionally been a much harder matchup than they have been this year. They are the third, I think. I should have a look at this. In the last 5, they are the 4th easiest matchup for midfielders. So, and we know what Jordan Dunkley is. Jordan Dawson is doing. I get those two mixed up all the time. JD and JD there. So yeah, Jordan Dawson has been massive so far this year. We've seen some big scores from him against a rivalry matchup up against his former side. I think he just goes well and is a pretty viable captain option if you're looking to go there. Does play the Sunday night at Sydney. So yeah, Saturday night. Sorry, not Sunday. So yeah, he only went 84 and 101 against them last year. So yeah, but we have seen some big scores against Sydney in recent times. Clayton Oliver went 130 last week, so that shows you that there's plenty of big scores. Nick Martin 141 against them not too long ago. Finn Callahan 121. Zach Butters 114. There's massive scores. So yeah, I wouldn't be too discouraged about going with that. And then we have Jack Sinclair just leaking in at number 10. I just think he's due for a big one. He's obviously had the pretty good form over the last 2 weeks. I have this gut feeling that Nasai cops a bit of attention this week, just being that main man back there, so that should free up the likes of Jack Sinclair to do a bit more of the work. We know that Melbourne give up a fair few points to halfbackers, so, I'm expecting him to have a fairly good game back there. So anyone that looking to trade him in or has him already, expect a pretty decent scores. So that is my top 10 captains for the week. Let me know what you guys are looking to do this week in terms of your VCs and Cs. Obviously, we've got the buy players, so the looping's not an issue, so you're going to have a pretty big stab at it. And I think, again, we have some pretty safe options with Bailey Smith against West Coast, or even a Max Gawn if you were on a rolling team, if you're worried about Bailey Smith's injury, if you want to call it that. Then I'd definitely be looking for a pretty big ceiling from maybe a Whitfield, even a Lockie Ash, Brayshaw. There's some pretty high ceiling players that we've got in there as well. I guess some apologies that I didn't include Tom Green. I'm just sort of fading on this pick a little bit. I'm just not. He had that one big pop game, but I don't think he has the ceiling that we're looking for. I expect a safe, 100 to 110, but I'm not sure he's going to get to that 130 that we're sort of looking for a captain. So he's just not on my radar at the moment. Like I said with Nasiah, Wangani Milera, I don't know if he cops a bit of attention or not from Melbourne. Melbourne are in some very good form, and if they want to stop St Kilda in any way, then this is the man to go through. And they do have a tagger in Sparrow at any point to deploy. So I think if he gets off the chain a little bit, then they could be very reactionary to that. So I don't know if he's going to be that good this week. I'm not going to really talk about Jerry Cameron. Obviously, he's going to kick a bag, but no one owns him, and I don't recommend people owning him. In saying that, they do have a pretty good run, so could definitely be a bit of a pod player. I didn't really speak about that too much. I don't even know what he's priced at, to be honest. So I don't know if I'd even look at that too much. Cameron. So a bit of a side tangent now. He's 832k, so I don't think I'm going there. But again, he's got a lower break even at the moment, so I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna destroy my season. So Zach Merritt as well. While I think he's a great trading target, it's for the long run. You're not really particularly targeting for this matchup. Brisbane haven't been the worst matchup for midfielders in the last 3. It's pretty bad. So -5 overall. So it could be a bit of a tougher time, but I still think he'll cop that 100 no matter what. Oops. Where was I? Here we are. Nick Dacos against Hawthorn. You never know what Hawthorn are going to throw at him. Obviously, Finn has gone and tagged him the last couple of times. I wouldn't be surprised to see that again, or at least Connor Nash stand next to him. So, not expecting a big day for them. If Hawthorn have any chance of winning this game, they've got to stop this man. So, they're going to do something, right? Obviously, spoke about Max Holmes being in my top 10. Nick Martin did sneak into my top 10 previously, but did just not got knocked out just with Brisbane being a bit of a tougher matchup. So, yeah, I obviously had the big game of last week and has the form. So, I just don't know. He's going to be a bit of a yo-yo, but, yeah, we obviously love him for what he's doing. And I think this gets into various unique territory where I don't think many people are looking at. So that is my captains for the week. What am I looking at doing? I sort of gave it away already, but I'm looking at going Max Gawn into Bailey Smith. Just looking for a bit of a ceiling there. Obviously, could have gone with Josh Dunkley tonight if he was in a bit more form. It would have been nice. Obviously, Jordan Dawson against his old team would have been good. I've got Sinclair, I've got Wangani Malira and Holmes as well. I've got plenty of big options this week, so hoping for a pretty big week. Update on trades. Nothing different at this stage. Hopefully, teams is nice to us this week because, again, I'm struggling a little bit for numbers with Kitty Coleman out, which is still really frustrating to me, but that's all right. I should still have 20 playing this week and 21 subject to if Boxall plays as not non-sub. If he is sub, then it doesn't really matter. But yeah, hoping we go well enough this week. So that is enough for me. I'll leave you guys to it. Have a great weekend. Hopefully fantasy goes well for you, and hopefully you have a good start to the buys, and you can skyrocket that ranking throughout the next couple of weeks. So all the best, guys. Drop any questions you have below. If not, go to my Q link as always. Besides that, have a great weekend, and I will see you all next week. Cheers, guys. Bye.